Hello, this is Retro Marky, and last couple of weeks, amongst other projects, I've been quite obsessively dicking around with Telstar, which is absolutely fantastic. In order to do that, we can start with one of these, which is a simple Wi-Fi modem, which basically acts as a real old school modem, but using modern technology can connect to your router as opposed to you dialing out on your landline, which would cost an absolute fortune, like most things these days, I suppose. So this is the card itself. Cost me £30 from Tyndall. Now there are other ways of doing this. I might do a follow-up video on my Commodore 64 that, although I did demonstrate a pre-made Wi-Fi modem last year, I actually made my own using an ESP8266 just for the challenge and fun of it, and that became a success for me, so I might do a video on that. But back to the good old beautiful BBC Micro. Now before we start anything, inside of here I've got the Comstar from Pace ROM, which gives you the firmware you need for the computer itself, and although you can see a BBC Master, it's not. It's actually a regular, well in fact it's not a regular Beeb, it's a BBC Beeb plus 128K. I've got a switch on the back here, so this can act as a master or a standard Beeb, and I decided to use the 128 because it saves me dicking around and removing the coprocessor, which would take all of 30 seconds, but you know, this is a video and time is short. So we've got this here, and we're going to use a little USB to power it in a second. With the BBC Micro itself, we've got a cable here. This is a standard serial RS232 25 pin. I've got an adapter which converts it to 9 pin because I got the 9 pin version of this. You can get the 25 pin if you like, but I wanted the 9 pin for the 64 as well because my 64's got a 9 pin RS232 on it, and then that goes into the back of the Beeb into, I think it's called RS423 for some reason. It's a bit of a funny one, but for all intents and purposes it's a serial cable, which is then converted into a 9-pin serial here. So let's plug the bad boy in. So that goes into here, and that quite simply goes into here. One of these tiny little connections. What's nice about this one, I need to build a case, maybe 3D print one, but it does actually give you the genuine lights of the old school modem, which is quite nice. You can get more expensive versions with a OLED on, but I didn't. I got this one, which is why your eyeballs are now viewing it, probably with some jealousy. Anyhow, let's get to have a look at it, shall we? Okie dokie. So what we're going to do is get up the ROM first. So we've got the software that we need. Modem is now plugged in and lights are on. So first thing we need to do is go to initialize, change this to send and receive at 1200. I'm going via the terminal at this stage of the game. You'll see why in just a second. C for chat. Now what we do is we type AT, and that initializes the modem itself. And what we can do is, for example, have a look at the firmware and have a look at what Wi-Fi is available. And there's my Wi-Fi there. I think on this one, is it a plus or an and sign? Yeah, there we go, and there's our general configuration. So we've got the Wi-Fi connection, where the flow control is on, and things like that. And what we can do is actually change some of those configuration settings if you need to, and then save it into the firmware of the Wi-Fi itself, or the Wi-Fi device itself. If we hit enter, we just get the startup message, so you know everything's okay. And then dt glass tty.com. Need to put a link to this because this is the guy that's got all this basically up and running for us all. Now one thing I did used to do let's put the port number 6502, and luckily recently I was playing around with it, and I know there's a port 6503 and it's a lot faster, or at least it was for me. 6502 here I found really slow, so I'm not sure if that's set for 300 baud, or I don't know, I had bad luck or something, but we're going to go into 6503 connection, and boom. So now you can see we're in Telstar itself, but we've got some glitchy graphics here. On Comstar, if we hit escape and change to Presto mode, which is shift and the 3 button, and then we need to change this now because the configuration, I didn't realise this at first, but the configuration is different, or you can configure the terminal and the Presto terminal differently. So we need to change the send to 1200. Also want to make sure that this is on 8N1, which it is. Now if we go to chat or see, hit enter, there's our Telstar, as quick as you can get it on this with the limitations of this particular Wi-Fi modem. There are other ways of using Telstar that are a lot quicker and don't involve spending any money, which is quite nice, but I wanted to do it on genuine hardware, which is what I've done, and this is what you're watching. So let's have a look at the news just to prove we are actually in date. News and weather. Click 1. So one thing, although it's slow, if you know the numbers you're going to hit in advance, you can kind of skip all the loading of the data here. There we go. War in Ukraine. UK promises quicker sanctions against Russian oligarchs. Government says the law will change to allow more allies of President Putin to face punishment. Well, that's jolly good, isn't it? Nothing like a war to lift the spirits, eh? Not going to get into that, not on this channel, and not in this conversation. So that's that. If we want to go back to the index, 0, oops, no, star 0, sorry, or asterisk 0, goes back to the main index. And I did want to quickly show you something else. Yeah, gateway services. Here we've got NXTel, which is for the Spectrum Next, or hosted or created or, I don't know, collaborated with those guys somehow. I don't know the history, but you can check that. Also we've got TFAX, which I showed you in a previous video that you didn't watch, and that's kind of a modern version of CFAX, again with up-to-date news, weather, etc. We've also got the Colossal Cave Adventure, which is quite interesting. So let's go into the gateway here. And shall I show you? Yeah, let's go to the Spectrum guys, as I call them. That's fine. There we go, NXTel. So on here, as far as I know anyway, I haven't found things like news or weather. I don't think there is. I think this is more information and software and things like that. Yeah, I've got tele software there on number 5. Pause for Thought Adventure. Actually, what's that? Simple price so we move from that's kind of cool. So even some games on here. That's very nice. Let's go back and just look at something else. I love this stuff. I absolutely adore it. It's something I didn't experience back in the day, so it's not a nostalgia thing. And I do have teletext on my Android device, which I might go into in another video, and I've got a couple of other ways of doing this as well that I mentioned. So teletext art, that could be fun. So the limitations of this simple Wi-Fi modem are that it only runs at 1200 or reliably. As far as I know, I mean, it might change, it might have changed, but as far as I know with the standard firmware at the moment. Babelfish, oh this is fantastic. I didn't plan this, I swear to God. It's brilliant. Oh my God. That's what it would look like if they'd used the BBC Micro in the original TV show, which they should have, maybe, I don't know. So anyway, that's that. And to finish off, let's have a look at TFAX. So there are one or two advantages of using TFAX, which I particularly like that you might not, but I don't know you, do I? And that is that the pages will refresh themselves, which is quite handy. I'll show you that in a minute. Fast text now supported. Ooh. Now I've seen some messages on here. There's a bit of glitchiness here saying they're moving pages around at the moment. So some pages might not be working as well as they should be, or not working at all. But I really encourage people to use this and keep it alive, especially if you're a retro guy or gal, and probably you are if you're watching this nonsense. And plenty on here as well. So let's go to the news. War in the Ukraine. I think, if I remember rightly, there are a number of pages to the news, and if we leave it just a second, yes, you see how it automatically moved on to the next page. Also I like this because there's a built-in clock. I don't know why, I just like silly things like that. It's the small things in life, which is lucky because I am a small thing. So there you go. That's just a very brief look at. I didn't want to show you too much because I want to encourage people to explore themselves. Now you don't have to do this on real hardware. It is the best way and the coolest way to do it, in a retro kind of way. But I will show you some other methods. Although I do have an issue, so I'm going to maybe cut to that now because my YouTube channel is not working. Now I don't mean my internet's not working, I don't mean my YouTube in general is not working, as you will see in the video that I cut to in a minute in video editing software when I get around to that bit of this video, but it's just not working. It's like someone's, or Google have decided, you know what, this nonsense we're just sick and tired of it. It's rubbish, we need to get rid of it. I don't care if he's got over 1,000 subscribers, we're not giving him a damn penny. So we'll have a look at that next, and then I think maybe I'll do another video on some other ways of doing TFAX. Just a quick sneak preview. I don't normally take my camera off the tripod, you're very lucky. But we've got this terminal here that I have permanently set up with a Raspberry Pi Zero. Ooh. But anyway, we're going to cut to something else now, so stop looking at it. Don't look at it.
It's AJ versus Daniel, everybody. They're not satisfied with matching up every other weekend in RLCS. They also want to take it to each other in ones. Let's see how it goes.